listen, let's start from the TOP. Good evening, you beautiful souls. Welcome to Free Flame Thoughts live on UJR Talk Radio. You are locked in with your two favorite hosts for the night, myself, Silver T. Lyneng.
And Sir Drumz, the man of the hour, the man you can't see. More blessings to you all.
Okay. So tonight, listeners, we are joined by a very, very, very special guest calling all the way from the US, New Jersey. And he goes by the name of Mr. L.A. Loge. And tonight's topic of the hour is going to be on domestic violence.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Great.
Okay, brother. So listen, LA, if you want to just introduce yourself to the people, we're talking about domestic violence, yeah? If you just want to introduce the people and just tell them your side, and we can jump in straight away, yeah?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, brother.
Well, basically, I decided to, well, first of all, thank you guys for having me.
You're welcome.
And, well, I was sharing with, Sylvia, some point of view, but really what I want to talk about it is I noticed some things is going on in our community, and a lot of times we have perspective, certain different kind of perspective from a onlooker point of view, like a spectator point of view, and then we really don't look at ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? So I decided to shed some light on my experience and see how I could help other people.
Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, so my ears are bent towards your lips. Tell me everything.
Okay, well,
here's the thing, you don't even have this.
How everything started, I look back in my life and I look, I've been an abuser in multiple relationships that I've been in, and I look into myself and I look like I know I'm always gearing to be a better person. I always try to strive for improving myself. And when I look at myself, I always try to analyze all the problems that I have and where it comes from, just to try to put me in a better position futuristically so I can make better decisions. So all this started where me and my wife had an encounter where I hit her, and she ended up calling the police and ended up going to jail.
Okay.
While I was in jail, I had faced with two decisions. Either I could be more angry at the fact that I'm in jail, or I could take responsibility for it.
Yeah.
And being in my cell, I decided to think about all the things that caused, reflect where the mentality comes from, and how I could really make a change within myself. Now, I went way back, way back. So I started thinking like, okay, where this mindset of being aggressive toward women come from?
That's right. Let's get into it.
The first thing I do is I look back at my childhood, how I was raised and stuff like that. Now, I wasn't raised to hit women, but at the age of like, my mom and my dad was in together around the age of 3 to 4 because they often migrated to the U.S. So in that time period, I have experienced and witnessed my father having practicing domestic violence on my mother.
Okay.
Now, the part of it for me is I never see him actually fight her, but I hear him in the room. And when they come outside, it was all good. Everything was okay and everything was good. So I didn't see any after effects or any consequences of the fact that he hitting her or they just had a conflict. We were to get up in the morning and she just continued her daily procedures. So I grew up seeing that. Right now, when I start having girlfriends, my father was my first role model.
Okay,
I wanted to do everything like him. So when I started being outside with my friends and so forth, then my dad say, yo, their parents would say, whose child is that? Then he said, name Lodge. Oh, that is the lodge that is live at King Street or whatever the case may be. And then he said, yeah, so they always tell me great tales or great stories about my father. So I feel proud knowing that, okay, then my father has status in the community as this respectable man You know, nobody don't play him or put him before or anything of that nature. So I grew up wanting to be like my father. I wanted to be have that kind of same status to say yeah, man. So I'm starting up girlfriends now. You know, first of all, my lover boy first. You know what I mean? But as we start experience things that I don't like in the relationship or whatever it was at that time, because at the time I was like 14, 15. That's how I started to express myself. Like I wanted, if there's anything like this done to it, you know what I mean? Where like if another person are involved where I get jealous, that would be the reaction. Like I want to take bad man for fool and wrap her up in any kind of way. Okay. So therefore, that behavior would turn into a habit and then come into a pattern, which some express myself.
May I ask you, LA, before you continue, before you continue, when you say you used to kind of coarse them up a little bit, rough them up, how at that young age, how did the women and the young women, should I say, how did they respond to that?
Well,
did you do it? Did they submit? Is the whole point? Did it work for you?
Well, it definitely worked because they didn't leave.
Okay,
so
all right.
I said, no. Hello?
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Still got you. Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. Understanding myself now, I was just having temporary anger, and just rush out anger. So after I expressed myself in that violent way, I realized that genuinely, said me myself in return for sorry, I'm like, said, baby, I know say me do this because I do this or this and that or whatever the case may be. And then, you know, we go into the little apology stage and try to make it better and show her why me do because she do this and she said me never have to do this and you know the whole friend up thing afterwards are, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, LA.
So, yeah.
What I want to ask you, did you ever get to a stage where, with a woman where you knew that woman didn't want to be with you, yeah? And you had to course her up and handle her that way just to keep her?
Oh, no. Never really had those issues. But this, no, that wasn't my case, what I was saying.
Yeah.
But what I do realize though, because the first time me and my wife had a big, one of the times me and my wife had a big argument was actually in front of my mother.
Wow.
And my mother said, you know what, son, something is going on with you, and you need to have counseling. So this is not need counseling because I'm an intellect. I consider myself a very wise young man. So you know, sometimes people tend to take on their own problems and try to be their own counselor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try to be their own counselor. And she said, "No, son, you're angry. You're fearful of something." So I said, "Mom, I don't know what you're talking about." But anyway, she said, "Well, I have a friend and she's a counselor, and people should go to her and see her." So I said, "Okay, then, yeah, fine, I'll link her." So this is years after now, right? I'm an adult now, so previously what we're talking about is how the behavior become normal, say, based on the fact that when I say I'm with my mother and my father, and then secondly, you don't know in the ghetto where I was brought up, if I were to shut me, I tell a friend, say, yo, you know, say, you're looking at phone and say, text time, and I'm not saying, you know, leave the girl in our place. So it was that was kind of vibe among friends.
Okay.
So there was nobody really to say, yo, dog, you must leave her alone and walk and work or none of the thing. There was mostly exaggerated at the expression of.
So your peers also express themselves in the same light, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
the environment as well. Okay.
Yeah. So what we just basically talk about is basically where I first saw it, and then the environment that I was in, it was normal. You know what I'm saying? It was normal, and it wasn't just amongst peers as far as boys. If a girl here, I'm with a girl and she does something, she will make the same gestures as well. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So as far as environment, that is there. Now I'm an adult. I'm moving to a different phase of my life. So my mom said to me that I need to speak to this therapist or this counselor. And I decided to alright, then I go take a trip. She was in Pennsylvania at the time, right? Pennsylvania. Yeah, so she's in Pennsylvania. My wife and my sister is here with me as well. They're, being my support.
Okay, that's nice.
That's good.
So I decided to have that conversation. So anyway, remember, I normally think that I could solve my own problems and answer my own self and things of that nature. So this lady decided that she's going to talk to me, right? So I stepped in the counseling session and she said, what's going on? And I tell her that, my mom thinks I have anger issues. I acknowledge that.
Okay.
I told her I have anger issues. She said, okay. Now, how do I express myself? And I started telling her, well, I hate women and things of that nature. Once I tell her that, she stopped talking about that and she started going into something totally different. So she said, okay, then how were you growing up? And I started explaining to her, well, she never asked me anything about domestic violence. She just asked me how it was growing up.
Yeah.
So when I started to express, I said, well, my mom and my dad migrated. When my mom migrated to the U.S. when I was 4, when I was 3, and my dad did the same thing when I was 4. And my dad died at the age of 10, so I never see him again, and I ended up seeing my mom at 17. So from the age of 3 to 17, that's when I reconnected back with my mom. So as the conversation continues, try to make this into a very nutshell, put it in a nutshell. As the conversation continues, she said, okay, where did I first express my first anger? And one of the reasons why my sister is here as well, because she was the first female I hit.
Okay.
Me and my sister had an argument, and while we were having that argument, she said, that's why my mother left me. So when she told me that, pick up. And then mom heard about the conflict. She said, if me ever did it, would have burn you with some hot water.
Wow. Wow.
So, what my sister was using as a reaction based on whatever I said to her that she wasn't approved of was actually a deep feeling that I actually felt. I felt like everybody gonna left me.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, was that a sense of, can I ask you, sorry to jump straight in as I try to understand your story. So by the fact that your sister made this comment, did it kind of resonate, that feeling of neglect and abandonment? Is that what it was that got to you?
Well, definitely. That's what in that session, that's what we identified.
Okay.
Because when she said that to me, and then she said, okay, that was the first time such and such, and she said, yeah. And then that session, we acknowledged that I have a hurt within inside of me regarding to feeling neglected, right? So as I left home, I decided, I thought about it more. I thought about it more. I started thinking like, that maybe she's right. When I looked at all the previous encounters that I was abusive to women, is when they was leaving.
Okay.
Leaving as far as leaving so when he asked if I have to rough them up for them to stay, not that, but they would want to leave the room.
Okay, yeah, we get you.
So, yeah, so me and them will have an argument, and they might say things not disrespectful, but they might say things as hurt, right? And when they say, you know what, I'm not going to argue and try to leave Mr. Edgar away.
Wow, LA.
Isn't that so? So I realized it's that feeling of she leaving.
Okay. It sounds like that your counselor, I've studied a bit of counseling over the years, and it sounds like the kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like the counselor that you had specialized in psychodynamic. I don't know if it rings a bell to you, which is basically when they often go back into the characteristics of your childhood for why you are the way you are today. Yeah, where with other counselors who deal with the here and now, they're more classified as humanistic counselors. So it sounds like that's what she done with you, took you all the way back to the past.
Yeah, that's what she definitely did.
So with let's kind of sit with the counselling part just for a little bit. When you started the counselling, was you immediately transparent with her, or was you avoiding? Did you avoid, or was you transparent from the moment you started your first session?
So I love cats. I'm going to start that.
Okay.
How
Okay, so for you, especially as a black male, and I say a black male because in the black community, unless you're in Hollywood and it's trendy, counseling and therapists and shrinks are still seen as you're mad or why do you go to them? So the fact that you went to a counselor as a black man, how do you feel that supported you during that process? Did it work for you?
Well, it definitely worked for me. It definitely did. Listen, I don't really care about what nobody says because I looked at it like, alright, like I'm conscious of a lot of things outside of counseling. But when I look at my environment, I know that we call good, bad, and bad good.
Right.
So I didn't care what anybody wanted to say afterwards. I just know that something was wrong with this. This doesn't seem like one of the reasons why I'm talking about this right now. And I asked my friend Sashana because her mother was killed by a man, right?
Wow.
And I don't care if I can. I'm going to talk this. I don't care if I can't even. I don't care if I can't go back and Feckers Law now Jamaica, but the truth must be told. A man killed my mother. A man killed my friend's mother, and he was glorified because. We wasn't taught in the ghetto,
right,
or in the ghetto, or in the or in the low income communities to give respect by characteristics, by who it is. We only give respect by who we fear.
Right.
So as long as somebody can do something to us, we don't talk about what they are doing. So it's acceptable because we fear of what they might do to us if we talk the truth.
Yes, I get that.
Okay.
Good. The world is big. I have to go back to Jamaica.
Yeah.
This have to be talked about where we as men, we need help. Because how we grow, we suffer with a lot of mental ill issues.
Yes.
Seeing people dying you have two sets of people in the ghetto, right? You have one set of people who hear gunshot and run, and you have one set of people who hear one gunshot and go towards it. So we see a lot of people dying on the streets. You see somebody, you just say hi to somebody, you turn your back, them get gunshot, and you go back and look at them taking their last breath. Those things are not normal for us.
Yeah.
All right, brother. I want to ask you a question, yeah?
Yeah, man.
You see in Jamaica, yeah, there's a lot of case of people women getting beaten and all types of things happening to them, yeah? And like you said, there's no really person that's saying we're not supposed to be licking up our woman and treating our woman that sort of way. So what would you say to the people in Jamaica that believe that it's all right to lick down your woman or do anything you want to do to your woman, yeah? And that's just normal behavior and there's nothing nobody can do about it. Knowing that they've got sisters, mother, auntie, and they wouldn't want no one to do that to their mother and auntie. What would you say?
All right. You have some. Okay. It's not one answer is the answer. But I think the start is this. We gotta learn. We gotta reprogram ourselves.
Yeah.
One. To understand, like, if we hit, all right. You know when we hit a woman and upset that she called police.
Of course.
Now, when I go to jail, my wife supposed to call police for me.
That's right. Speak the truth. That's right.
She's supposed to. If me lick her and she feel like she can't defend herself, she have to call for help.
Yes, that's right.
Now, if they know that the person will call out police, they're not going to call nobody. They're not going to do that. So we must glorify the consequences if a man lick a woman in for God jail.
Yes.
Right.
So he must take responsibility within himself because he must pick him buckles. Because if a man stick him up for taking chain with a knife or with a gun, he's not going to react.
That's right.
Because he might really assess the consequences.
That's right.
So the narrative of if a woman call police for a man because they lick her, we need to change the narrative there. Secondly, only hurt people that don't hurt people, so we have to identify where is it that we are hurting.
That's right.
True,
That's
true,
a powerful
true,
statement.
true.
Very powerful
So,
statement.
identify we are hurting. The next thing after identify we are hurting, we have to understand the reason why I'm is a woman too. I was not taught to deal with my emotions. I was taught to avoid them and to suppress them.
Yes.
No, a woman would want to kill a man, but she don't. Because she have a girlfriend to talk to, a mother to talk to, a auntie to talk to, a cousin to talk to. She walk in and chat to everybody. Ask my wife, she tell everybody be an honest. No, me keep it within myself. So when I'm ready to express that feeling, it's out of frustration, it's out of anger, and it turns into rage very quickly. Now, what if I practice the proper way to express myself? It won't even reach there.
Yeah, and you know what? Go on.
Then, so that's one thing. Then we have to teach the youth them values. Values not only in a cliche way. What values, what you would and would not do as a human being, or what is important to you, those are your values. So if you say you will never cheat, being honest is a value system of yours. If you say you will never do certain things, that's a value system of yours. We only teach a kids when they get up, enough for fuck body, enough for have oral sex with woman, and enough for be farmer or snitch. Those are the only principles, those are the only values that is being instilled in the ghetto. How can I love her and kick her? I start get this dusty myself.
So let me ask.
You don't tell them waiting no more. I never ever go there. Because the moment I know that it's a go there, I never do it.
So let me ask you, LA. Sorry, let me jump in real quick with a question. May I ask, to date, I know you have your current wife now, do you remember how many women you've had these encounters with?
Okay, 1, 2.
Wow, LA!
5, 6. Hold on.
Mr. Loge.
No, 5 or 6.
No, I love your honesty. We appreciate you. So that's important. I know we're on a roll and with Shane's story, and forgive me for obviously I need to interject so I can find out more, so I can have more clarity with the storyline and people can understand more. So it has been a bit of a history from, as you said, let's recap this a little bit, from going back into your childhood and experiencing that from your parentage, okay? So you've had, from then till to date, you've had about 5 or 6. Now you have your current lovely wife, yeah? And am I right in saying that you said that you had a small an altercation with your wife, and then she called the police and you went to jail, yeah? Okay, so whilst you were in that jail cell, please talk me through what your reflectivity points were. Talk me through that.
I didn't hear the last part. Talk you through what part of it?
When you went to jail and your partner now called the police, you were arrested and went to jail for the incident, the altercation with your wife. Yeah? You went to jail. How long did you go for, and how did you feel once you were there? What was your reflectivity? You know, the mind process. How did you feel? What was going through your mind?
Okay, well. For the moment, my wife was spent a whopping 3 months in jail. Okay. Not just jail, in immigration jail.
And what was the experience like? What was the experience like for you in that immigration jail?
A worst experience. Worst experience. Immigration jail, one of the jail, you don't deserve, you don't get a sentence, but you don't know when you're coming. Okay. So that was one of the worst experiences, being in jail, not given a date. Like if you commit a murder and you get a 5-year sentence, immediately your countdown starts.
Okay.
In immigration, whenever they decide to pick your number, then pick it. Did
your wife visit you at the time?
No.
High five.
I didn't want to do visitations.
High five, girlfriend. Okay. For that, okay. Okay. So whilst you were in jail, were you still aware that
you asking she was supportive? That she was.
She was.
That's what you asked me.
Okay. So that means you were aware that you were in jail, but she wasn't going to leave, so that wasn't a part of your threat, correct?
And I wasn't thinking about any about that. I was more thinking about me.
Okay.
like me, how can I be, like, listen, at the time when I went to jail, I was in my company, I was promoted, and I was making plans to make a lot of money.
Okay.
So I'm saying, how is it that I went from thinking about making $100,000 a month a year to day in a jail?
But that goes to show that, remember, emotional intelligence has nothing to do with financial gain. That's two different vessels.
Exactly. So when I was in jail, I was trying to get my emotions together.
Right.
How is it that when you be yourself, especially when you're with people where can't really reason, can't really read, can't understand themselves, and what am I doing here? Even though jail have the most clever people and still.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm saying, what am I doing here?
Was that the first and the last time?
Yes. I started going to, okay then.
Was that LA? Was that the first and the last time you went to jail for domestic violence?
No, I only went one.
Okay.
And that is the last time.
Okay, so let me ask you an honest question. Okay. Is that the last time you were physically violent towards your partner?
Oh, yeah.
And was it honestly the
I don't even beat my kids.
So that again, please repeat that.
I wouldn't even beat my kids.
Okay, but let me ask you an honest question. Was that genuinely because you repent? Okay, the fact that it was your last time and you don't plan on going back, was that more so because of the repentance and not wanting to lose your wife? Was your wife ever a threat of being lost anyway? Some women never leave no matter what happens to them. Or was it a case where you were afraid of being immigrated and being sent back? Which one was it? Because did every part of that play a role?
Okay, repeat the question. What were you asking?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you went to jail, the immigration jail.
Mm-hmm.
What was it for you that has now made you decide that is the last time you want to do that? Is it the love for your partner? Is it the love for her? Because the reason why I ask that, because some women will not leave no matter what the man does. Okay? So have you developed the journey of wanting to change yourself based on that, or is it the fear of being sent back home to Jamaica because you're in immigration jail?
No. I have this imagination of myself being a great leader, person, which I am. Not just in my everyday life. I try to be an inspiration to somebody in any small way. I'm always a thing to improve myself, meditate a lot and all that.
Okay.
So even if I was supposed to be in Jamaica, God forbid I was in Jamaica, it's not there. So it was just another journey in another country. We never planned to be at that particular time. But I have to change myself. So even if I get deported, I get Jamaica, if I was still that guy,
okay,
the imagination of me being a great person, that would change it. So I know the levels I want to be in life, I can't carry certain characteristics traits with me. It's not just about not losing her. Because if I lose, God forbid I lose my wife and move on to the next relationship, I don't want to continue bringing that because I'm bringing it.
okay.
I was bringing it way back then and it arrived here. So when it needs to stop, and it needs to stop. No. Jay wasn't the reason for much. But Jay wasn't all the reason for my team. But being in those 2 months, it gives me time to think.
Okay.
Because, like socially and economically, we spend time surviving, putting food on the table. So your personality ethic that you really want to develop, a person ought to really want to change, to invest time for that. Because we're going to work, we'll come home, be with kids, eat and go sleep for the next day. Where's the time to actually love yourself and think about yourself?
True.
No. What caused the change? We love me. I'm getting to learn how to love myself.
I like that.
So I can't love myself and do that to my wife because she's an extended version of me.
So let me ask you, LA, let's bring it to the here and now for the next 5 minutes. Let's just, as we wind it down, I'd like to get a few more bits of clarity from you before you leave us tonight. Would you say that you are a changed man? We spoke about the process. That are you a changed man?
Yeah. That's why I could talk about it. And when you asked me to put in the if past abuser when I share the thing to some of my friends and say, abuser? What you mean abuser? I said, yeah, I was an abuser. So I'm already changed. There's no insecurity with it. Nobody can nobody can tease me with it. Nobody can do nothing to me. It was my journey. It was my battle. I'm going to overcome it. I'm going to know the people have got through the same things. I see people have died for the same things and all of that. So,
all right, Mr.
I see people have died for the same thing. So the only thing I have to do right now, since I'm victorious over this battle, is try to shed light with others. You know what I mean?
All right, Mr. Loge. Listen, this is the question I want to ask. I've got two questions in one. Double barrel question, yeah?
Double barrel.
All right. First question is, what would you say now as the elder, more overstanding man, yeah, to the women to people's girl child that you've hit in the past, yeah? That's question number one. And question number two now is, what would Mr. Loge say to Tech Badman for Fool back in them days if you was talking to him?
Okay, I'll do the first one. To all the females out there that I've heard before, if I don't know them status now with somebody who would call them name, I would really like to apologize to them. I would like to apologize to them and thanking them. Two things. Thanking them for loving me, even though I never loved myself. Because I really love myself more. So I would thank them for sticking by me while I was putting them through hell. One. The next thing is, I would like to ask for their forgiveness, knowing that, you know, sometimes women go through things and walk away blaming themselves. Maybe they never this or maybe they should have that. No, I never you. I did me what you at the time. I know how to socially, emotionally express myself, and this is the only way I knew, and this is the way that I chose to be with it. Yeah, now that I've matured and understand myself, realize there are different ways and options in which to express myself.
Sure.
So that would be my thing to them. Apologize, thanking them for loving me and apologizing to them. Pretend that nothing was wrong with them, even though whatever button they push, they have to take responsibility for some part of it. Not saying that is the reason. No, that's not the cause or the reason. But then it takes two to fight. And them have a stand for them responsibility of where them go, where them say as far as that. But I would just love to thank them for loving me for the process and apologizing to them when that's something was on with me and something about me. Now to speak to the younger me, that's brother, you are going with it, see? You understand, you have an emotional disorder where you don't know how to understand yourself. But this is the way how you need to start it. And not even tell them, show them. Say, listen, brother, don't make a permanent decision over. Don't make a permanent decision over a temporary emotion. Someone down the road, you walk with. You understand what I'm saying?
Surely.
And show him, I'm going to tell him, I'm going to tell nobody. But I really show them.
Yes, that's big.
Well, LA, let me just say, as I'm listening to you, I truly am processing everything you're saying. And as for the forgiveness, it's very bizarre that I'm sitting here resonating with your words so much, because I shared briefly earlier about my experiences before you called. And even though it's not the person apologizing, it's almost as if your apology makes a difference to me. And you want to know why? Because you are repentant and you're going through. You always go through the healing, but you've done anger management. You were willing to go counseling. So I take your apology truly, authentically. And for some of the women that's listening to this, I'm going to say it for them. We appreciate that.
Very good.
And I'd like to, as we wrap this up, pretty much because time restraints. I'd like to thank you immensely for taking the time to join us today as a guest from so far across seas, New Jersey. It has been a very transparent conversation, and I salute you. And may God continue to bless you on your healing journey, because healing is sexy as far as I'm concerned. Okay? Forget about the brands that we wear. Healing is sexy. You heard? Yeah, and as for your beautiful wife, hello wifey, I've seen you in pictures, you're beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, may you two continue to grow honestly, and heal and just be that unit. Because it doesn't get deeper than this, does it? And as for your sister, I appreciate your presence because, you know, family's unity, unity's power.
Definitely.
Thank you for joining us live on UJR Free Flame Thoughts.
Big up,
Thank you.
big up, bro. Enough love, yeah?
Yeah.
And big up to your wifey and your sister at the same time. So I respect what you said today. You know, real man say real things and do real things, and you know, you definitely took it to that level today. So I want to say respect to you, brother.
Salute,
yeah,
salute,
and
salute.
I hope I don't even hope, I know your message is gonna go out and change not people's thoughts and their decisions. You know, so yeah, man, enough respect, brother.
Yeah, listen.
Blessed, yeah.
Thank you, LA. But many people has experienced their parents being beaten, watched their parents being beaten by, usually more times than not, by the man beating the woman.
That's right.
And via seeing this experience growing up, many boys has mimicked this behavior. Okay, and as for the females, they tend to run to love in all the wrong places. So they witness the woman being beaten, or their mother, auntie, sister, whatever, being beaten by their partners. And they interpret that as some kind of affection or love. So it's a lot more psychological and dynamic than we want to admit or acknowledge.
Mm-hmm.
As for myself, are you ready for me to spill some tea?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. As for myself, I was in my 20s, I think. A really weird story how in the beginning. Okay, I met this guy. He wasn't my usual type. I always start off saying that for everyone I meet. Yeah, not my usual type. And strangely, because I have a very profound sixth sense, seventh sense, what you would call it. Yeah.
Seventh sense.
Yeah, there's a seventh one. Yeah, let's go with it. Yeah. I thought he didn't do anything to make me feel like he'd done that before to anybody. But I asked him to give me his hand over the dinner table. And he looked at me sideways, like, why? And I looked at his hand. I'm not a fortune teller, palm reader, or nothing. But there was something, I really ain't. But I looked at his hand, and his hand spoke to me.
Wow.
I don't understand. And I looked at him. Just imagine you sitting down with a woman pretty much for the first week of seeing her. Okay? And a woman takes your hand and looks at you and says, have you ever hit a woman before? He says, no, why? Grab his hand back.
Wow.
I never had any experiences before that. Not like I was leading from an experience.
Wow.
He goes, why no? I'm like, are you sure there's nothing you'd like to tell me? I'm a serious woman. Don't call me Oracle for no reason.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, no. Then, of course, that no turns into, but there was one situation, yeah, which didn't really seem like he'd hit anybody, like a dispute pretty much. He pushed her, that was it. You know, nothing, there was no violence.
Yeah.
Anyway, it turned out that he was quite an intense, jealous person. There's different levels of jealousy, okay? Mm-hmm. There's that passionate one where you feel like you're just being protected and cared and got a little jealousy, but this person was jealous, okay? Mm-hmm. But his outbursts were fueled by drugs, I'm going to go deeper, but by drugs, by mummy issues, okay, neglect, mummy issues, you know, being left across seas while mummy came to London for a better life, and he was mistreated quite a lot by family. Mm-hmm. It was fueled by being molested by a pastor when he was a young boy. Ooh. And this is not me giving any excuses for how it manifested itself, but it's me observing where I think these things has come from in that individual. Okay, people don't become violent for no reason. You do get the small minority that just wants to control, but more times than not, it comes from an agenda of trauma, like the hurt people who hurts people type of trauma. Anyway, one random night when I was doing music as a youngster, I had him speak to my music coach, just like, oh, say hi to my music coach. He was American, hi. Everything was nice. I went to his house looking peak, looking so nice in my fur coat, ready to, you know, to get the night on after my music session. And all of a sudden, there was, this is the weirdest thing to this day. I remember speaking to him. I was standing in front of the guy who was my boyfriend at the time, in my 20s. All I remember next was being on the floor. I don't remember anything in between. To this day, I don't know how I got on the floor. And I don't recall feeling anything. Like, I don't remember being hit, punched, kicked. I don't remember feeling anything. I just remember looking up and thinking, how did I get there? And my first thought was, I'm going to pause on that for a second. My first thought was, when you see situations happening in movies or you hear about people, you always have a scenario of what you would do. Oh, I'll do this, I'll get my brothers, I'll do this, and you know, all that kind of stuff. First of all, I'm not the type of person that calls people on board until I'm sure about what I want to do.
Right.
Too many women call people, end up back with the same man. Next minute, those men are in drama with your brothers are in beef with the man you're still with. So I had to think through. No, that's real talk, right?
Yeah, of course.
So in that moment, oh my God, what did I do? I was in shock. I didn't even move. I was in shock. I was in shock. That night turned into be a repeated attack scenario. I had to fake an asthma attack to get out of the house.
That night?
That night. So when that happened, then I was dragged by my neck of a butcher's knife to my throat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next level.
I swear, when I looked at the person, it was like looking at Lucifer in the movies. Something had totally possessed him. Yeah? And in my head, I was a girl that would have been fighting, kicking and going nuts and running out barefoot like you see in the movies. I shouldn't laugh, but do you know what I mean? But the shock overtook me. So what happened from that was a few more bits and bobs happened that night, but to this day, some bits are still quite a blur. I got out the house. He kind of saw me hyperventilating. I got out of the house, you know? And from that moment on, the feelings that I sat with was, it was more like I felt humiliated. That was the first thing that came to me. Why did I feel humiliated? I was never a victim in my eyes. Of course, technically, I would be classified as a victim. But I felt humiliated, I think primarily because I had so much fear of what I would do if it happened to me. You know, little Mo and his senders. She had idiot. What are you doing there? What were you doing? Before you bust him up and get pot and lick him in his head. Idiot. No, do you know what I'm saying? We say a lot of stuff when you haven't lived it. Okay, maybe 2 in 10 actually would do what they thought they would do. You know? Anyway, cutting an even longer story short, yes, I faked a bit of an asthma attack and I left the house. When I mean faked, I was already hyperventilating, but I egged it on just to be able to leave.
Of course.
Yeah? Was there any warning signs before that? In disputes, there was like the odd threat, so yes. And I will say, I did feel silly. I did feel humiliated. I had an awful lot of resentment and healing to do. But I would say ultimately the reason why it occurred the way it did and the aftermath, how I dealt with it, because I had just lost my best friend who died of sickle cell. And it's not an excuse, but death hit me differently.
Of course.
And that was my first loss. So I already felt like I was off the rails. And I had lost a child.
Yeah, it's a lot.
To him.
It's a lot.
Okay? So, yeah. When I mean lost a child, let me be more honest. I chose not to go through with that. Not that I believe God giveth, God taketh. But based on the scenario, I had to make that choice. Maybe another show I'll go in deeper for, you know, what that was really about and how that occurred.
Of course, but there was a lot going on at that time.
Yeah.
I
just was...
Too much.
Yeah. So when that happened, my reflexes was not on point. I was suffering with so much trauma outside of that.
That's right.
That I wasn't moving right to how I should have dealt with that. It should have been, I would say to any woman or man, especially woman, call the police. Don't let them get away with it. If you let them get away with it once, they'll do it to somebody else. But I didn't.
Yeah.
It's more important for me just to get away, leave the situation and move on.
Which sometimes is the smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
The smartest thing to do is, like you said, you could call your brothers.
Yeah.
Your brothers could end up in prison.
Right.
You could have killed one of your brothers.
Right.
That's all going to fall back on your conscience. So
Yeah.
you did the smartest thing. Fake the asthma attack.
I was really hyperventilating. You know, you're in shock. But then I was like, I can't breathe. Just leave me alone. You know, kind of thing. But interesting. It's just very, very bizarre, you know, how the whole thing came about. That's my only situation that I've experienced. And it was, to me, horrific enough. So I see the red flags.
I don't want to go into.
No, ask me whatever you want.
I don't want to go into
Ask me whatever you want, yeah.
But would you say that? So basically, you're saying that you came in the house from the session.
My music session, yeah.
And you didn't get no words out, and he was
looking forward to seeing me. I rocked up in a fur coat and pretty much nothing underneath. It was going to be that night.
Oh, so
I was going to my boyfriend.
So hold on. You've rocked up like that,
right?
And he's thought that you just come from that place.
No. He knew he was expecting me. He was expecting me. Do you know what I mean? So I'd altered my garments before going there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but what it was, he'd said to me that because he'd spoke to my music tutor and a guy sounded like a proper dude, someone I may like, he's head teching.
Okay.
And all sorts of thoughts were going on in his head. Oh, did you cheat on me in a million years ago? He'll bring up stuff that had nothing to do. This craziness. It was a craziness.
Okay, so basically,
right.
He's come to his own assumption that
right.
Because this guy sounds like a real dude.
Yeah, that I must have liked him.
You would like someone like that.
Mm.
So he's going to attack you for that.
Yeah.
So did you get a chance to speak to him after that?
Yeah.
And how did that?
What happened?
How did that resolve?
Again, I say because I was with trauma. How I wanted to end it was like clean cut, but I didn't.
Okay.
And I've overcome that whole thing of needing closure. Sometimes you seek closure with people that you should just leave or run away from. Find your own closure. But sometimes us women still want to understand why. There's always, us women have this thing of why. Why did this happen? And why didn't you do this? And what made you not do that? Women, there's nothing wrong with wanting to know why, but we do it to our own detriment. Sometimes understand you're alive. That could have been a crime of passion. That could have been a dead girl.
That's right.
Okay. Why is leave his ass alone and go heal yourself?
Mm.
Why is because he's suffering with so much trauma that he doesn't love women.
That's right.
And that's not an assumption, because one day I said to him, I don't think you love women. You like them for companionship and sexual gratification, but you don't know how to love them. Yeah, he says, no, I don't, because of my mum.
Wow. It all come
But in
out.
fact, I hate them, he said to me.
See, it all come out.
Yeah.
And that was dangerous for you.
Because he had already punctured his child's mother's lungs, and I didn't know that till after I broke up with him.
Wow.
He has a history. And that's why I say a lot of us women, you know, like I said, I was in my 20s, you're talking about 20 odd years ago, but a lot of us women allow people to get away with things and they go on to repeat the pattern of somebody else. Remember, why should someone have to change if you're okay with it?
True.
If every woman lets someone get away with it, then naturally the next woman is, you know, you'd think, well, I don't have to change. Why should someone have to change? The more we put our foot down and challenge the scenarios, the more people are forced to change and elevate.
So what would, all right, so you gave the scenario of what women should do. So what should men do that's got their partners that women are attacking them? Because I know women that stabbed man.
Well, I think,
man with baseball
listen
bat,
to me. If a man
dash hot water on people when they're
that
sleeping.
man obviously is supposed to let that woman go from the jump. It's either that or you're going to bruck her up. Choose which one you want to do. Because you see, this makeup
So call
sex
the
thing ain't
police,
working with me.
is out of question. Because the man can't call police now.
Listen to me. If you want to call the police, you can. That's the unfortunate thing. Even in my head, as you said that, I thought, what's he doing that for? And that's wrong. Yeah, no, I'm not going to lie to you. I heard it here tonight first. Where LA Lodge has chosen to share, not only with himself, but his family, wife and sister, parts and elements of his journey as a former, and I use the word former abuser, and what that was like for him. And one thing I do appreciate, I say again, is someone that can just be honest with themselves and their journey and seek help. Even if you're resistant, seek help. You know, the more we improve ourselves, everybody else around us is going to benefit. That's for sure. So I hope you took in the message tonight. I hope it resonated in one way or another, listeners, and thank you for joining us.
I just want to say big up to Mr. LA, you know, all the way from America right out there. Enough respect to you and your family, and the message was a very powerful message today, you know, and it come from a real point, and real men talk about real things and act real as well, you know, in all types of different situations. I want to say big up to my co-host Silva, you know, the lady of the hour.
Thank you.
The glue who's holding it together. Yeah, and I want to say big up to everybody that tuned in today. presence was, you know, definitely felt. And yeah, we're just trying to bring you what you want to hear. So
Some
enough
soul
now.
talk. And my second to last words is, ladies, never suffer in silence. That's my quote of the hour. Good night.
Good night. Take it easy.
Good afternoon, guys. How you guys doing? It's Loge. I just finished my interview with Free Flowing Thoughts with Sylvia, and I have to say thank you guys for having me. It was was a very tremendous experience, based on the fact that we're talking about a very taboo topic, which is domestic violence, not from a victim perspective or a spectator perspective. Actually, the abuser himself. At least I was once an abuser. So I'm glad that we were able to actually do this interview, and you guys did a tremendous job with the questions. You guys did a tremendous job with how you guys conducted the interview. I have to say thank you very much to Silva. I appreciate her, how we conducted it, and even before, you know what I mean, the conversation that we have, like if it's okay, she asks her the questions, if there's anything that she can and can't ask, or some things of that nature. So I have to say I feel very pleased. It was very therapeutic as well. Yeah, it was very good. So guys, continue to put in the work, do the good work, and ask the questions that are really going to make a impact on people's life and create that change that we want to see in the world. Say don't know. Elliot Lodge, all is one, never alone. Thank you guys for having me again on Free Flowing Thoughts. Thanks.